This is my 50-inch Changhong TV. The model number is LED 50YC2000UA. I had it for about 2 months. Got a new egg. So far I've been really pleased with it, except for it breaking on me. The way it is right now, there's no response, either to remote power or pressing the power button on the side. I've tried unplugging it and plugging it back in, and it's just completely dead. It doesn't do anything. So I was considering it's completely dead. I kind of suppose it's the power supply. You know, hopefully just like a fuse is blowing or something simple. Maybe the bridge rectifier is out. Who knows? But anyway, I'm going to tear into it and see what I can figure out. In order to get the back off the TV, I had to take the base off down here, and so I had to come in and lay down the TV on the front. The boards are really small in here. I'm impressed. You have your main controller board over here. I think this is the LED backlight board, and then this is the power supply board here, which is what I'm most interested in because the TV is completely dead. I've had a chance to look at the Megameet power supply here. As you can see, hopefully you can see, the brand name is Megameet, megameet.com, and the part number is MP155S-2MF01. This is where 120 volts comes in at, and we have a fuse here, which appears to be good. And we have some, the hot side is on this side, and then the isolated from the line is over here. The cold is what they call it. And we have some optocouplers here and a couple of transformers going across there, and then a couple of caps. One interesting thing is this transformer uses Litz wire, and so does this one, which is basically a bunch of very fine gauge wire wound together to make one bigger wire. And I've had a look at this bridge rectifier here and then the diode. And the way that you test that is put your multimeter, this is my cheap multimeter, on your diode setting. And I'll arrange this so you can see it here. Oops, got it backwards. So this diode has about 0.39 volt drop across it. And this is our bridge rectifier. And there's 4 diodes inside of here, so you have to measure it in parts. This is the positive. This is the AC, and then the ground output, which basically you have your 120 volts coming in here. And it outputs pulsating DC basically, and then a cap would smooth that to, you know, straight DC. So let's see, across this diode and the bridge rectifier we have 0.57, and we measure this diode, maybe, oh, here we go, 0.55, 0.57, and finally the fourth one, 0.565. So that all looks good. We have 4 other MOSFETs on here in channel. They're by a company called Magnachip. And I did a quick ohm test on them, and they all look good. At least there's nothing shorted out there. And what was it? There's a big cap under the heatsink here, which is kind of hard to see. That one looks good. I don't really see any obvious signs of failure. It passes the smell test, where you can, you know, smell it and see if anything's burned up. But I had to look over it with the magnifying glass, trying to find any components that were burnt up or traces that were burnt up. I didn't see anything. I think the next thing to do is to put the 120 volts in and then see what part of our outputs here are dead. Because we have them, it's nice of them to label. This goes to our main controller board here, and then this goes to our, I think is our backlight board down there. Since the TV was completely dead, it took me a while to find the problem. I assumed it was the power supply board, which is this board here. But I ended up taking up all the boards off of the back plane here and looking them over, and I couldn't find any physical issues. And I ended up measuring all of the outputs here with my trusty oscope, and all the 12 volt and SDA, SCL, and then this goes to the main board, which is 12 volt and ground and so on. And so I came over here, measured it here, and everything looked good. The labels were written on the bottom of the circuit board, so I wrote them down on a little piece of paper here so I could see it while it was installed. And basically found what the problem was. Is this IC right here is a 3.3 volt regulator. And if we look over here at the data sheet, we have the pinouts there. This VN measures right at 5 volts, and then the output measures at 1.5, which is obviously not good. And this goes to actually the to this IC here. And this runs from 2.7, I believe, to 3.6 volts up there. So anyway, I measured this, and this is where I got the 1.5, and I traced it back to this linear regulator here. And put my finger on this, and it was super hot, and I measured it about 170 degrees Fahrenheit, which obviously isn't good. And then once I found this was getting hot, I put my finger on the main processor here, and it was really hot too. And I've yet to been able to find a data sheet on that. It's a MSD 3393 LV or LU, I can't tell. But I did find where it was used in a schematic, which has the pinouts on it. We'll go back here. Right there. And yeah, it's supposed to run at 3.3 volts too, which explains why it isn't operating. Why the button presses or the our remote won't turn it on. So, oh yeah, this 3.3 volt regulator is 117-33. The -33 is for the 3.3 volts. I did find this board on eBay. It was like $89 US or something like that. But since this is only 2 months since I bought it, I'm going to try to get it repaired under warranty, I think. I don't know if I could just send in the old board and this Changhong send back a new one. I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll see. Okay, I have all of my connectors back. Power supply, AC, to the LED backlight, and then the new main board here. Got the power input to the push buttons and the IR remote board, and then the speakers, and right here I have my multimeter hooked up to see what if there's going to be 3.3 volts when I plug in the power. I have power hooked up here to my kilowatt, which I can hopefully get with one hand. Okay, double check. See what the voltage here does. Aha! 3.3 volts. That's a good sign. Make sure nothing's getting hot. Nope, doesn't appear to be. Processor's nice and cool. So that's good. Let's see, as far as watts, we're drawing 0. Before, I think, yeah, that's watts. Before it was about 8 watts when I have this, oh crap, that connector or ribbon cable isn't hooked up. Well, I got the T-Con cable hooked back up and powered up the TV, and it seemed to be working, so I put everything back together and set it back in here in the living room. I did leave it on for about 6 hours just to make sure nothing else would burn out. As you can see, I got Windows Media Center going there from Windows 7. And so overall, I think it was a success.